Hello everyone and welcome to another scrapbook process video. Today I'm going to work on project 2 of the scrapbook workshop Sweet Memories, and I'm going to make this over a little bit. I think rather than having a predominantly floral theme, I'm going to try and make this a little bit more masculine. Even though there are florals in this paper here, I think it'll still work well with a masculine type theme with all of this print and the cameras and the viewfinder images and the tickets. I think the florals just add a bit of a vintage touch and will still be quite usable for a masculine themed page. This is the layout here. This is the left page, and you can see it's got quite a lot of floral elements brought in here on the left page, and also on the right page as well. There's quite a lot of them. So I'm going to try and change this up a little bit. I'm going to keep the main cutting area the same and the photo placements pretty much the same, and I'm going to change out a couple of the papers. So the main one that I want to use is this one here, and the cut for this one is fairly simple. There's a strip on this side and a larger strip on the other, so it basically uses the entire sheet. If you haven't purchased a scrapbooking workshop kit before from Close to My Heart, you will see that the instructions are really easy to follow. They have the picture of the pattern paper, and this one here is 2A 3x12 for the left page and 2G 9x12 for the right page. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer for this. I don't normally do this on camera, but I thought it might be handy for you to see, just in case you didn't know, that all of Close to My Heart's printed paper has a zip strip on it, and they're at 1/2 inch, so you do need to cut those off. But because I have a Fiskars trimmer that has the wire on there, that is like a guide for where it is actually going to trim. So I can get a relatively clean cut with that. I'm going to set this one aside. I'm not going to use the mulberry colour at all. And then I'm going to do my 3-inch cut. But I think I'm going to change this and have a little bit more of the paper on the left page and a little bit less on the right. So I'm just going to cut this one at 4 inches. And this is my left and right page. I'll put my trimmer aside for the moment. And now I'm going to decide on the rest of the papers. Now the base for these is this linen type wash or a burlap type look. It could almost be a wood type look as well. So I'm just going to put these on top of here and do a little bit of a dry fit and decide if I'm going to keep this as the background or if I'm going to swap it out. I'll just take this piece aside, and this is the right page here, and that goes over top. And then they also use this pattern paper here as the matte. So that has the blues on the other side. I'm wondering if I should put that on there and flip it over just to brighten it up a bit, or if I want to go for a solid cardstock. So I've got my picture off to the side here. I'm just using this as a visual reference. I'm not cutting anything down just yet. This is a scrap piece of charcoal, but they have this built up just like this in the picture. I'm putting this out so you can see more in life size what it looks like, and I think I'm going to be swapping some of these papers out. Quite often I like to scrapbook on White Daisy. I'm going to bring a piece of that in and see if I like this pattern here on White Daisy better than I do with this greyish sort of tone. And you can instantly see that makes that pop just that little bit more. So I'm going to save these pieces for another project, and that will extend my scrapbooking kit as well. And I'm looking at the patterns on this, and I really love this camera element here, and that's going to be hidden if I put a large photo mat on top of it. So maybe I will swap this around. So I'll put this one on the left and this one on the right and see if I like the look of that. Now I'm going to bring in those other 2 pieces that are on the original layout and see if I like the green on here. But I think I'm going to go for a more solid look and take this pattern away as well. I want this pattern to be the highlight of the pages. I've got some charcoal offcuts here, so I might just put those over the top, and that's going to represent the large photo mats. I've got a mark on this, so I'm just going to turn this over so that won't be seen. And having swapped these pieces of paper around so that the larger section is on the left side, I can now see this camera here, the one up the top here, and I can see more of the cameras on this side as well. And then I'll be able to put my photo mats on. But what if I wanted to change the color a little bit and not have quite the solid charcoal? I'm thinking I could bring in Harbour. So I'm going to see how that looks up against the paper. I quite like the Harbour color with this. So I'm going to get rid of the charcoal. If I want to make it a little bit softer, I could use mist, but to me that brings in a more feminine look look with this pattern paper here. So I'm going to keep the Harbour there for the moment. It's not on the listed colours in this colour palette for Sweet Memories, but I do like the combination of Harbour with this. So I'm just moving these aside a little bit so I don't get any fluff or ink splattered on them. I think the Harbour will just be enough on the edge. I may not even have to put the zip strip part or another 1/2 inch cut along that edge. That might be enough just to give it enough definition up against the white. So I suppose with this layout, I'm really paring it back. I'm not using everything that is suggested, and you will see when I come to do the embellishments that that will be the case as well, because most of the embellishments in Project 2 are floral. So I'm just going to pull those out now so that you can see them. I love the viewfinder, so I know I'm going to use that. This piece here is like a newspaper print. I'm going to use that as well, but I'm going to just get rid of all the floral elements here and the pink elements as well, and I'll be bringing in some other things to do my embellishing. I might keep that one there. All those floral elements I'm just going to put to the side. These ones that I've selected back in here, and I'm going to do the same process when it comes to selecting the stickers for this. I know when you look at this paper there are a lot of florals on here, but it's still going to have a more masculine feel by taking away all of those floral die cuts and the floral stickers. So I'm just going to keep inking this up, and I'll do that for the same piece here. I'm going to cut down my Harbour cardstock and put some of these pieces down on the layout before I go on to the next step. One thing I wanted to show you before I adhere things to the page is how to create this little vignette sort of look. You can see that I've just done the edges all around this one. Apart from these two sides, I've started doing the vignette, and I thought you might like to see how I've achieved that. I could put this down on my mat and come in off my mat, but if I pick up a little bit of ink, when I come around the corner, I just flatten out my blending tool here and go around the edge. And then I'm also going over the edges of the piece of paper just to bring the blue Harbour colour in a little bit more, rather than just having a clean sort of edge look to this. So this sort of style is called a vignette, when you bring a colour in from the edge in towards the middle of the piece. I'm not going to go all the way into the piece, but you can see that I'm flattening out my brush and just dabbing along. You don't want a lot of ink, but you can see how that creates more a vignette look and brings more of the colour in from the edge of the piece of paper. I've got my large photo mats done. I've just cut them out of Harbour. So all I've done is use the same photo sizes, so 2 4x6s here, and then on the second page I've got a 4x6 and 2 3x3s, but I've put the 3x3s closer together and I've adhered those directly onto Harbour and then trimmed them down. Now in this one you can see there's that green pattern paper, the sage pattern paper here, and this one has the sage, so I've removed that all together. But what I thought might be fun to bring in is some leftover pieces from Project 1. If you haven't watched that video already, I will put a link to that in the description below, and I have 2 of these 12x6 pieces left, so I've just simply cut one of them in half to create 2 6x6s, and I thought that would be rather cool to have coming out of the edge of these photo mats, and that also tones down the floral theme in here and it just brings in another more masculine feel. So I am going to edge these just like I did with the pattern paper here with Harbour ink. For these pieces I've come in a little bit more with the Harbour ink, so I have used coming in off the edge and going around. Now this one I've got some pounce marks here, but that's going to be covered up. So what you want to make sure, and this is why I thought I would show you how I've done this, is to pounce off first and then come in off the edge here. You can use a blending brush for this if you want to, but I'm just using the tool in this instant, and then I'm just going around the edges and bringing more of that colour in just to create a deeper vignette on these pieces. So with my embellishment placement, I'm going to keep the left side with Living the Dream because I think that will work really well on this page, and I'm going to keep the circles here, but it's a bit of a waste to tuck that entire circle down behind, so I have cut that in half with my trimmer and I'm going to tuck that underneath. I have inked the edges in Harbour, and then for this viewfinder I'm going to put that so that it comes out over top of this photo on this right side. And then I have my half circle that I can tuck under this side as well. And what I wanted to show you, when I'm prepping my pages, before I put my photos on, I'll leave the sticker backing sheet on there, but I will peel away some of it and cut that away so that I can adhere it to my page, and then it's quite easy to peel away that other piece after I've put my photos on it. So this just protects this top part here so that I can then slip my photos underneath. So I'm thinking I don't want it to be perfectly in the middle, so I'm going to go off to the side a little bit and adhere that down. And now I've got room here. You can see the backing sheet is still on here, so I can tuck my photo down in there later. And one other thing that I did off camera that I was going to show you is I did cut away a section of this ledger paper. I love this ledger paper so much. I wanted to keep certain parts of it so that it would be usable for another project. So I'm going to put those aside with this kit, and then I'm thinking about other embellishments that I can use. Now I've already discarded all the project 2 die cuts. What I'm going to do is just put this over a little bit. I'm going to tip out what's in project 3. If you watched the first video, you know that I've already sorted everything by project. So I don't want the flowers. I think project 3 has quite a lot of these types of embellishments on it and ticket styles. I do love the banner that they've created, but I think I'm going to pare that back a little bit and make this one a floral layout. So I'm going to sort through and dig out embellishments that I think will work best on my project 2, my makeover. So I think this one will work. I'm going to put these die cuts aside. I don't need a heart. I do love this little house embellishment. I think he will work quite well over here. I don't want the pink ones. These ones are going to make up most of the banner. I do like this for a tag section, so I think this could work quite well on this project. I'm going to leave this title for project 3. I don't want a flower. I might use this one. And the good thing about these ones, these little frames and everything, some of the inside sections do pop out from them. So I think that's going to work here, especially as I've used the ledger paper in that. And get rid of these floral elements. I'm going to leave this one as well and take the hearts away. And then I'm going to ink up the edges of these with the Harbour ink. So the Sweet Memories collection does have a larger sheet of die cuts, but it also has a small selection of them in the Scrapbook Workshop kit. So I'm going to dig out the arrows from here because I have an idea of what I can do to change these so it's not introducing another colour on this layout. There's just 2 arrows in there, so I'm going to see if I can find some more that will be usable with this wood grain piece. Now these are the die cut shapes in the wood grain, and I love this camera, so I'm going to pop the camera out and also pop out this little heart here. So those, and then a couple more arrows that I think I'm going to use on this page, and that's all I'm going to get from that sheet. I'll just bring in my scratch piece here. I can do this straight onto my Versamat as well, so and then just clean it up with a wipe, but I'm going to try inking these up with some Harbour ink. I'll just bring in my ink. I'm going to pounce over top. Now I'm sorry if my camera is shaking a little bit. I'll try not to do it quite so hard, and I'll see if I like the look of this on these pages. I don't want to bring in a wood grain element, but I'm pouncing and I'm making sure that this is going to be a saturated piece so that it doesn't fade back too much. And I love how that looks. I did do a little test with some black earlier, but I think the black is too harsh with all the Harbour that's going on. So I'm going to keep doing this. It'll work quite well on these craft or toffee sort of colour pieces that come with the kit, but I do love being able to bring in other pieces. I've had a little play with the embellishments that I've selected, and I've adhered my semicircles down. With this wood grain camera that I inked up in Harbour, I decided just to attach a little piece of white behind it because wherever I place it, I didn't want the pattern to come through. And I'm thinking that might look a bit cute here. And with the ticket, I've actually cut that one so that I can extend it at the top and the bottom here and make it look like 2 tickets. I didn't necessarily want the open house, so I'm going to tuck that down there like that and have my viewfinder coming over here. And then this one I'm going to tuck under so you can't see this purple coloured 6 p.m. I think that will go there. And with the house die cut, there was quite a lot of white around the edge, so I trimmed that down. I fussy cut that a little bit closer, and then I used my inking tool and went around with a bit of Harbour. That will look cute coming out of the side of this sticker here. And I'm going to have this one here and the arrows. And this is one of the other little ticket sort of pieces that I got from Project 3. And I was trying to decide where to put it, if I would put it down here or up here. I had it down here initially with some arrows, but then I looked at the sticker sheet and I really love this camera and I think it will work really well with this pattern paper, but it's got a big floral element. So I went through all the other stickers and I couldn't really find what I wanted to put there. I could put lovely over the top, but it's not quite big enough. And when I was looking at the stickers, I also found this date element, which is a sticker. So then I played around a little bit more and I've decided the viewfinder would look quite cute over the top of the camera here, and then I can tuck the date here and have this ticket coming down from this section here. So that extends that up sort of a little bit and gives a grouping with this semicircle. I've got a grouping going on here, and then I'm picking up all the arrows and this piece. I'm going to have that coming out from the side here, and then I just need to decide where I'm going to put these other arrows. So you can see on the back side of this one, that's the original colour, which works quite well with this paper collection because that colour is within some of these sketched elements here. But I have decided to just colour them all in Harbour ink, and that was quite easy and quick to do. All my elements are adhered now. I quite like the minimal clustering that I've created here, and also swapping out some of the elements from Project 3 and bringing them into Project 2. And I still have a lot of floral elements left for another project, so I'll be able to extend this kit quite a bit. But I did want to bring to you in the videos the makeover of Project 1 and now Project 2. So here's the right page here. You can see with all these floral elements and everything that I have left off, it gives a totally different look to this page. There is a little bit of white space, so if you like doing splatters, you could do splatters on there, but I'm going to leave it as is for now. I will trim my photos down a little bit so the white mat will show from these photo placeholders, but the clusters here, instead of being down in this section here, I've trimmed down this photo mat quite a bit and made sure that everything fits just on there rather than overhanging, and brought in some other stickers and some arrows here just to deepen these up and hopefully give a little bit more of a masculine feel. Just a little quick comparison. The left page here I have swapped around so that the smaller strip is on the right page. I've put the largest strip on the left, and if you remember from the beginning, I actually changed it a little bit. So instead of this being 3 inches, it's a 4-inch strip, and now this one is an 8-inch strip. I have changed up this element here because I wanted to cover up the floral on the camera. I've kept the same title, but I have removed all of these other floral elements and swirls and things like that give a little bit more of a delicate feel to these pages. So I hope you've enjoyed what I've done with Project 2. There is another project that is included with this. I'm hoping I'll have time to do that before the end of this month. I am going to change this one up a little bit as well. So that's on my radar to do. I just hope I've got time to do that before the end of February so that you can have a look at the Sweet Memories Scrapbooking Workshop Kit Makeover that I have done for the 3 projects that are included in the kit, and I will have leftovers, and I will show you what those are at the end of creating my 3 double page spreads. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. As always, happy crafting and bye for now.